What if I told you the richest people aren't the ones with the biggest incomes, but the ones who need the least? Today, I want to talk about frugality, not as this old school a penny pinching thing, but as a radical mindset shift that could quietly transform your life. To put things into perspective, let's imagine this. You have the power, more or less at all times of your life, to give yourself a raise of up to 50% of what you earn, with virtually no strings attached. If I were to tell this to your average person, they would regard it as a superpower and instantly wonder what the catch is. But in reality, there is no catch. There is no secret life hack or anything of this sort. In reality, if you choose to cut the fluff and reduce your expenses by 50%, that is basically a 50% increase in your income. The only skill you need to make it all work is to be content with things that don't cost as much as everyone around us seems to imagine. Let's talk about the underrated power of wanting less. We live in a world that's designed to make you feel like you're always one purchase away from being enough. More stuff, bigger goals. The more we spend, the more we earn, the further away the goalpost moves. That's how most of us get stuck in this endless treadmill of chasing the next financial high and anxiously wondering if they'll ever have enough for any meaningful retirement. In this sense, frugality is a radical shift in thought that tells us that we already have enough, that everything we seem to want is nothing more than capitalist smoke and mirrors, a mirage of a better life that's always a few more years away. If we refuse to engage with this chase, we will most often find that everything we need is already here, within our grasps. Frugality is an awakening that allows us to break away from the corporate rat race faster than we could have ever imagined. Most people think frugality is just about saving money. But here's what it actually does. It rewires your brain. Let's run some quick numbers. If you need $5,000 a month to live, you'll need around $1.5 million saved to retire. But if you're happy on $2,500, you only need half as much. Frugality doesn't just help you save faster. It shrinks the size of the mountain entirely. Every dollar you don't need lowers the bar for freedom. It shortens the runway for quitting your job, freelancing, or working part-time. It's not about living small. It's about designing a life that costs less to maintain, emotionally and financially. Whenever we think about early retirement, we think about those people who earn insane amounts from either IT, engineering, medicine, or some other job that is no longer within our grasp. We envisage ourselves making better choices in school and wondering how far we could have gotten in alternate timelines. What we have now can be enough, but we have to learn how to make it last. Of course, certain issues like inflation, crises, and major world events are still going to affect us in one way or another, but that is simply not within our control. Therefore, worrying about it does no good to either us or our goals. If you love books, buy them. If you hate cars, don't own one. That's not sacrifice, that's strategy. Here's the secret most people miss. When you live well on less, you become resilient. You're not stressed when the economy dips. You can say no to bad clients or toxic jobs. You can take breaks, experiment, rest. And sure, taking the bus is less comfortable than driving in your own space on your own time. But honestly, if this is the barrier that separates you from real, tangible freedom, is the price too much? I'd say that is just reasonable enough. Moving on from full-time employment to freelancing or working part-time is a liberating shift that will allow you to enjoy life instead of slaving away for a rich retirement that you may never even live to see. Taking advantage of what is possible now is always preferable to a longer time frame, maybe with less financial risk, but with certainly higher chances of leaving you unsatisfied. Frugality is that very bridge that can get you there faster. You've learned how to live, thrive, and find joy without depending on constant upgrades. So what does a frugal, fulfilling life actually look like? It might mean fewer work days, a smaller apartment you actually love, more mornings for yourself, more evenings with friends, less stress, less noise, fewer distractions. So how do we get to this point of liberation? Here are a couple of guidelines. Start by cutting out the fluff, whichever purchases may apply to you in particular. Learn to go without them and to discover the happiness that lies in free stuff. The rest of the money that you no longer spend, you save. You make a safety net for yourself, then you start making an investment account where you can accumulate funds for your retirement. You should aim for about 10 years worth of your new expenses. Once you have that, you switch to the half work, half stock model. Work enough to cover half of your needs and sell some stock every year to cover the other half. This alternative way of life is possible, fulfilling, and within the grasp of mostly everyone. Sure, you can increase your income along the way to make it happen faster, but don't sweat it too much. Eventually, you'll get there, and it will be the best feeling that most of us have felt in a long time. Subscribe to this channel for more thoughts on slow money, freelance freedom, and designing a good life outside the 9 to 5. Thanks for watching.